Okay.
So once again, a warm welcome to all of you. Very briefly, I will just share the context of this session. Uh, we are an organization that is working for empowerment for people with a disability, and we truly believe in empowering people to realize their potential rather than orienting ourselves into the charity model. And inside of that context, it becomes very important that people with a disability or people without disability learn life lessons, learn subject to be valuable citizens. So it is inside of that context, I requested one of my Samskrita teacher, Mr. Swaroop, to introduce to a resource person who can give us some insight on Vedic perspective on the integrity of learning. And that is where I got in touch with Dr. Jairaman sir. And it is indeed a very honor for us to have you, sir. So, for the benefit of everybody who is on this session, kindly allow me to introduce Dr. Jairaman sir. Dr. M. Jairaman sir is a speaker and academician holding a PhD in Samskrita from University of Madras, where he explored the doctrine of Tantra Yukti, a study. His academic journey is marked by gold medals in and first ranks in undergraduate and postgraduate degrees, and also includes traditional Gurukula education in Vedas, Vedanta, Yoga Shastra, under the guidance of Parakriya Kotemane Ramachandra Bhatt in Veda Vijnana, Gurukulam, Bengaluru. He is currently serving as a professor and dean of the Division of Yoga and Spirituality at S. Vyasa Deemed University, Bengaluru. Dr. Jairaman sir has made useful contribution to the field of yoga and Samskrita literature. His portfolio includes 25 books and 21 peer-reviewed journal articles on yoga and Samskrita literature. Notable contribution includes Yogasya Bhasha and Yoga Vastasharadi, showcasing his commitment to advancing immersive learning methods for yoga text. His workshops on Tantra Yukti, an ancient text and thesis construction methodology, have garnered acclaim. Dr. Jairaman sir expertise extends being resource person for nationwide faculty training program aimed at training 1,000 teachers in higher education institutions on Indian knowledge system. Recognized for his contribution, Dr. Jairaman sir has been felicitated on multiple occasions. In January 2024, he received recognition from the Maharaja of Mysore for his notable contribution to the field of yoga. In December 23, he was honored by the Honorable Governor of Tamil Nadu during Bharatiya Bhasha Divas for contributing to translating yoga text from Samskrita to Tamil. In 2021, he was honored with the Samskrita Grantha Puraskara by Karnataka Samskrita University for his Samskrita book, Mantra Artha Chintanam. His expertise is utilized by many academic institutions and various boards of studies and council. Sir, thank you so much for joining us, sir. And I hand it over to you. We're looking forward for some enlightenment from you, sir. Thank you so much.
Namaste, sir. Thank you very much for this opportunity. It is indeed a very noble endeavor that you are undertaking towards empowerment of the challenged, or they are called as Divyangas. So, and you were in the interactions that I had with you also expressed your desire to understand or kind of look into the inputs from the traditional literature, Indian knowledge systems about the space between the teacher learner and how teaching and learning happened in the past.
Yeah.
So, and what values we can derive for our current setup across various domains and disciplines. So, as I understood uh, this as your desire. So I try my best to share the inputs. Before that, I chant a Vedic invocation, which indeed is a very beautiful commentary on how the teacher learner relationship should be. Om Sahanavavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Virjankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So this invocation itself, it's a Vedic, very ancient Vedic invocation, which says, Saha Nau Avatu. Let both of us together, Saha Avatu, protect. Let the divinity, let it protect the both of us, the teacher and the student. Saha Nau Bhunaktu. Again, let the both of us, teacher and student, be nourished together by the divinity. Saha Viryankaravavahai. Together, let us achieve greater goals. Viryam Karavavahai. Tejasvi now adhitamastu. Whatever we have learned together, to be noted that teacher and student learn together. That's the language of the Vedas. Tejasvi now, let that be empowering. Tejasvi. And in the process, ma vidvishavahai. Let us not hate each other. Let there be no misunderstanding between each other. So, this is the Vedic invocation for protection, for nourishment, for making the learning empowering and in a friendly, congenial atmosphere. This was the prayer in the Vedas with regard to learning processes. This was the this should be the this should be the prayer that a teacher and student should utter together. That's when learning becomes meaningful in the current context. Of course, the teacher and student come together, but it kind of becomes a contract between the both. I am paid, so I work. I my parents have paid the fee, so I am bound to be here. Whether or not I desire to be here, I am here. But the the bonding that this mantra expresses, that has become rarer these days. It's a sad situation that we are in. But still, we are as efforts are going on across the country with regard to reviving this ancient traditional practice of having a very good bondage between the teacher and student. So, Acharya Devo Bhava, the teacher was seen as a father or mother, and the student was seen as a son or a daughter. Such was the bonding that existed between the teacher and the student. That has to be brought back again. And the classes, either in the higher education scenario, the classes, even in the school level scenario, everyone is stressed. The teacher is stressed, the student is stressed with the projects and homeworks. So, where is joy in learning these days? So, hence, when we recollect this Vedic wisdom, Vedic way of learning, people, there is now homeschooling is picking up, especially after COVID, and alternative ways of learning is now turning and learning for the true purpose. So that is also coming up slowly. And in that context, what is our source to fall back upon? The Vedic wisdom is the source. So, hence, this topic needs to be discussed widely. And in this context, so I would like to share my screen and then would like to uh, say my thoughts or share my thoughts through this. So you can see when we say Vedic perspective, we have to see what the Vedas are. See, there is a normal notion that there are two extreme notions about Vedas. One is they are religious in nature. So it is only for puja, worship, homa, etc. Or, oh, it is something of the past, something obscure or very highly philosophical, which we cannot relate. That is the general notion. Without even getting into what the Vedas are, people form all these notions. But when we see all kinds of wisdom is available in the Vedas, I don't say they are updated, cutting edge, latest, but all walks of life was taken into consideration in the Vedic lore, in the Vedic literature, allied literature. So it covered a wide range of wisdom cutting across disciplines. So there are the four Vedas. Then we have Veda Angas, which are called as which are phonetics, grammar, prosody, etymology, astronomy, astrology, and literature, which is called as exegetical, through which we perform rituals, etc. And then, of course, so these are the Vedas, these are Vedangas and Upavedas. The Ayurveda, Dhanurveda, Ayurveda is very well known. Dhanurveda is the art of warfare. Gandharva Veda is the art and science of dance and music and fine arts. Arthashastra is public administration. Then we have Upangas called as the Puranas, Nyaya, Mimamsa, Dharmashastra is about the code and ethics of living. Mimamsa is about rhetorics, interpretation, art of interpretation of the Vedas. Nyaya is about logic. Under that only we get yoga, Sankhya. Puranas are stories, Purana, Itihasa. Through stories, wisdom to the common people, simple people are conveyed in a very easy way. How we have to lead our life, what are the principles of life, all that is taught. So, hence, as you can observe, Vedas, Vedangas, Upaveda, Upanga, they cover all walks of life. Wellness is covered, protection is covered, administration is covered, grammar, language, that is covered. Curiosity about the world outside, the celestial bodies, that is covered. Logic is covered. And the code and ethics of living is covered. So, hence, so appropriately, Sunil ji has requested me to speak about teacher student relationship from Vedas because this is the Vedic literature and allied literature. So the Vedas, just like our current university system where various fields of knowledge are explored. So when we say a Gurukula or a Vedic education setup, all these types of wisdom were explored. Even now, many centers of Gurukula, traditional centers, in that all these systems are incorporated to the extent possible. So hence there is a so it's very appropriate that we look into the Vedas for wisdom between the teacher and student cutting across disciplines. So hence it's not from a religious or philosophical perspective. So from all these perspectives, from all these sciences, so the Vedic teacher and student, when they came together, They explored all these variegated wisdom. So hence, it is very much connected, current, parallel to what we do now as various sciences and arts that we pursue, and we become experts in various disciplines. So hence it is very up. So what was the so in the Vedic time there was no rat race or no careerism, no JEE, no rush abroad. So hence they were actually cool-minded, calm in approaching every other system. They were patient. So hence, in comparison to the current way, we do everything in a hurried manner. So in the Vedic time, they had all the time in the world to methodically, meticulously, systematically explore all these fields of knowledge while the teacher and student interacted together. I don't want to present all the other slides which speak about when I say phonetics. Phonetics is not one text. Under phonetics, lots of texts were written. Under grammar, so many texts were written. Under Ayurveda, so many texts are written. And across centuries, rather across millennia. This is an at least 5 to 6 millennia old civilization which is surviving. So hence, all this is, and in a different occasion, I can elaborate how vast our wisdom is. So hence, it's indeed a appropriate source to explore the teacher-student relationship. So Sanskrit has sciences, Sanskrit has arts, religion, humanities, metaphysical subjects, physical sciences, chemical sciences, natural sciences, mathematics, earth and space sciences, theater, dance, music, sculpture. All these are there. Now, where did it all start from? When we see that how come such a explosion of knowledge existed in the past, but unfortunately in all our textbooks we read only the the advancement of science from 200, 300 years ago, but the origins of the science, so we have all these texts. We should actually start from all these things to have a wider, deeper, balanced perspective. So these sciences in the Indian context, what is the root inspiration of all these knowledge explosion? When we see that the Upanishads are considered as the fountainhead of all knowledge, the inspiration that is evident in the Upanishads, where it portrays beautiful relationship between the teacher and the student, that set the tone for the later knowledge explosion. It would not be an exaggeration to say that. Swami Vivekananda, he himself says that in the Upanishads, we find all the inputs of Puranas, but there is not one full grown Indian ideal that cannot be traced back to the same source, the Upanishads. Even Western scholars also opine there is no more important form of Hindu thought, heterodox Buddhism included, which is not rooted in the Upanishads. So, hence, for all the knowledge that we saw, it emerges from the Upanishads. And another great Swami, Swami Ranganathananda, from the Ramakrishna order, he says, the mental climate of the Upanishads is saturated with passion for truth and a similar passion for human happiness and welfare. So, why do teachers and students come together? Why should they come together? They should ideally come together if they have passion for truth and they have a passion for human happiness and welfare. What can I do? What can I do to make the world better? How do I understand the mysteries of the world? That is the purpose why teacher and student come together. And in the Upanishad, you can see a beautiful mental climate that existed, which promoted a unhindered, unobstructed progress, open atmosphere for teacher and student to explore. So hence, all the it is indeed Upanishads are the epitome of the Vedic system, from where that we can learn a lot about the teacher and the student. So in Kathopanishad, we have Yama and Nachiketas. In Prashnopanishad, Pippalada and the six students. In Taittiriya Upanishad, we have the conversation between Varuna and Bhrigu. In Brihadaranyaka, various characters are there. Yajnavalkya, Janaka, Maitreyi, Gargi, Janashruti, Raikva. So many personalities who are involved in the quest of truth, human welfare, and abiding happiness. These are all the names of teachers and students. Shvetaketu, Aruni, Narada, Sanat Kumara. Wonderful personalities. We will just go back to their period and try to see how these teachers and students interacted. Now, when we see all these characteristics, who are these? Are they school teachers, B.Ed, M.Ed, or college teachers, PhD, postdoctoral research? Who are the students? Who are those? So, when we see varied personalities were involved in the teaching, learning, dialogues. Yama and Nachiketa. Nachiketas is a small boy. Yama is the god of death. A teacher-student relationship blossoms in between them. In Pippalada's case, Pippalada is an aged old sage, and his students are themselves scholars who wanted to advance their knowledge. In the context of Bhrigu, Varuna, Shvetaketu, Aruni, the father, son were teachers and students. In today's world, will the daughter or the son listen to what the father says beyond a particular age? How much of a tension exists between the father and son these days? The mother and the father and the sibling, or the daughter and the sons. How much tension exists these days? But beautifully, we see the father and son were engaged as teachers and students also. Such learning, reverential learning from the father happened to the son, not only in the young age, in advanced age also. And even husband and wife were teacher students. Yajnavalkya and Maitreyi, beautiful conversation, beautiful knowledge exchange blossomed between them. And then in case of Janushruti and Raikva, the student was the king and the commoner was the teacher. That also happened. So in this way, we can see a cross section of society, and it not always, the teacher-student relationship did not always require a school or a college or a formal setup. As the life flowed, teaching and learning happened then and there. And we are thankful that our tradition is strong enough to preserve such learning lifelong, along with life learning that we see. That's the beauty of this. And then, well, let's first, before going into the quality of the teachers, let's see how the students dedicated themselves to the learning and how it was reciprocated by the teachers. The students were persistent, they were not durable, and they never got discouraged. The students had probing questions, and their probing questions were acknowledged by, and they were not dismissed. And the students were restless if they did not know anything. And they were very sincere until they got the answer. And they were untiring. And then the students were from all kinds of strata and gender. Let's see a few examples here. Now, this is the story. Don't worry about the Samskrita mantras given here. If you are interested, we may later explore. It's for my reference. You, many of you may know or may not know, there is a Upanishad called Kathopanishad. In that Upanishad, we see that one boy, the small boy you can see in the picture, his father was giving charity, and then he was giving away cows to people. In those days, cows or the cattle was real wealth, and he was giving away cows for various people, thinking that he is doing a great act of charity. But what kind of cows he were giving? Those cows which cannot drink water, cannot chew grass, which will not yield any more calves, which are not capable of giving milk. Such old and feeble and tired cows he were giving. Those cows which were useless for him, the father was giving. The son who was watching it from the sidelines, he said, Father, Father, please don't do this. The father dismissed him once. Again he pestered, Father, Father, please don't do this. The father dismissed him twice. Please give me away. The son was so sincere as a child, which is a characteristic of a child, sincerity. He says, You give me away to someone rather than giving these feeble cows which may not be of use to the receivers. The father is frustrated by the repeated kind of uh, remonstrations from his son. And then the father says, Okay, I will give you to the god of death. I will give you to Yama. Go away. Though he said it in anger and frustration, though he did not mean it, but the word uttered is uttered. So, hence, the son, who is an embodiment of sincerity, the story goes that he goes and meets Yama, the god of death. He waits there for 3 days at the entrance of Yama's house, and then Yama comes on the third day, at the end of the third day. Yama feels very bad that, oh, for 3 days, some guest was waiting at the entrance of my house. No one took care. So, hence, it becomes my responsibility to compensate for the wrong done. Hence, he says, Oh, little boy, I will give you 3 boons because you had suffered for 3 days. I will give you 3 boons. You ask for any 3 varas. The boy was happy. He says, I have come to you, but I have to go back to my father in my current shape. I should not die. Second, he says that teach me some Vedic practice by which all people can go to heaven, that they can be relieved of their suffering, and at the end of their life, they can go to heaven. Now, the third point comes where he is an inquisitive boy. He asks a question, Oh God of death, some people say there is life after death. Some people say there is no life after death. This is my question. If you answer this, that is my third boon that I would have got from you. Yama understands. So, life after death is a critical subject. It needs a little bit of maturity and understanding. So, he says that no, no. He says, even the great gods themselves have thought about this. You are a small little boy. I can give you so many other things. Don't ask about this. I will give you 100 years of life. You will have good grandchildren, and their children also you will be able to see. You can become a very rich person. I will grant you all these things, but do not ask about life after death. But Nachiketas was not lured by all these things. He says, No, sir, You said you will grant a boon, and I have asked for it, and I want the answer to that only. I do not want all the offers that you are making. So, such was. So, he also says that Vakta chasya twadriganyo na labhyaha. Sir, my question is about death, and you are the God of death himself. Who else can answer about this in a perfect manner? I don't want any other gifts from you. I want answer to my questions. Please teach me. So such was the commitment to the knowledge that Nachiketas exhibited, and Yama becomes very happy, and then the teaching and learning process starts. So this shows that how Nachiketas as a student is not lurable. And someone says, no, no, you are not fit enough to learn this, go away. No, he is not discouraged, and he is a persistent. I want that only. I have decided that I will take up this discipline and I would like to progress in this. There is no compromise. I will go ahead. So, such was the perseverance that the student exhibited with the teacher, also kind of was very happy to acknowledge and teach him later. Now, let's see another set of teacher and student connection. Now, this is again another Upanishad, Prashna Upanishad. In that Prashna Upanishad, we have one teacher who is called as a Pippala, the very senior learned person. And six students, they themselves are not students, they themselves are scholars. They have various questions in their mind, and then they come and ask questions. Two, they have come to ask various questions, and among them, one is called as Kausalya Ashwalayanam. He says, Lord, where is this life born? How does the life enters the body? How it stands by self-division? And that how does it leave the body? How it maintains the outward and how the inward spiritual prana. How does prana come in? How that prana is operating within? Who made all these divisions? How are we living? Please teach me. So it was a series of questions. Bhagavan kutayesha prano jayate kathamayatyasmin sharire atmanam va pravibhajya katham pratisthate kenotkramate kena bahyam abhidatte katham. So it is not one question. Series of questions about prana. So, such was the probing questions that the student had. It's not that I just place one question and whatever the teacher says, I shake my head and go. So, my question should be probing in nature. In all dimensions of life, he wanted to know. So, he proposed questions which are probing and exploring various dimensions of life. And that's why in Bhagavad Gita we see tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. Do service to your guru, be humble to the guru, but one important thing is pariprashna. Ask comprehensive questions. Pari means from all directions, all dimensions. Prashna means question. Ask questions from all dimensions. This is one classical example. You want to know about prana, read up about it and ask multiple questions about it. And how does the guru respond to it? The guru is very happy that such a question was asked, and the guru says, Ati prashnan prichasi. Your questions are probing. Ati prashna. It's not mere prashna, ati prashna. Probing questions you are asking. And Brahmishtosi tasmat teham bravimi. You are committed from your probing questions. I understand that you are committed to the knowledge. Hence, I will address. The teacher is not frustrated with probing questions. He welcomes them and sees as a very positive sign in the student and accommodates his question and systematically he responds to it. This is another seeker. Now, there is another very interesting seeker we have. This is also from the Prashna Upanishad, where we see that the student is a Sukesha. Now, this Sukesha, before presenting his question, the philosophical question, he gives a background to the question. He says, Sir, I was in my ashram one day. I myself am a teacher. I was in my ashram. Hiranyanabaha Kausalyaha Rajaputraha Mamupetya Yenam Prashnam Apricchata. And one prince of a kingdom, the prince's name was Hiranyanabha. He came to my ashram and asked, do you know about the consciousness with the 16 aspects? Shodashakala Purusham Vetha Bharadwaja. I said, I do not know about it. So, very interesting. See, Sukesha, he was considered an acharya. Someone comes and asks a question. See, you in the world, a perception is created about who you are. You become a guru. Someone asks a question, then, oh, now I am perceived as a guru, then I have to answer all questions. So, whether I know or not, I should answer. No, that was not the approach. Sukesha says, Na aham imam veda. I do not know. I do not know about what you are asking. So, uh, so I know him not. That's the answer. Whatever you are asking, O Hiranyanabha, I do not know. Such honesty. And he says that if I had really known, I would have told you. And a teacher who knows but does not share the knowledge with the student will dry from the root. His knowledge will dry away. The more he does a partiality in the students, his knowledge will dry away, and all his interest will only be in politics, playing politics with the students. So, hence, I really do not know about the consciousness with 16 aspects. Now, okay, the prince was disappointed and he goes away. Now, what does the Sukesha, to whom the question was initially asked, he do? He what does he do? Someone came. I did not know the answer. Then he went away. Now next, let me move to the next job. No, Sukesha says that that question, for that I am seeking the answer since long time. Acharya Shankara, while commenting upon this, he says that an unanswered question is like a thorn in the heart. Just like a thorn in the leg, until it is removed, a person will be highly in discomfort. Similarly, a question that does, for which I did not know the answer as a teacher, until I know that, it is like a thorn in my heart. Oh, teacher, I am asking the same question to you. Please teach me about the consciousness with 16 aspects. Such is the relentlessness, sincerity in seeking the answer. This is and the teacher accommodates this kind of a query. So, such was the restlessness. And then there are so many other occasions also. So, in another Upanishad, we see the king becomes the seeker, and then uh, a person who is sitting under a cart and scratching his body. So, revered sir, are you Raikwa, the man of the cart? Then the attendant returned, saying, I have found him out. Lying underneath his cart was scratching an itch. So, this was the Jnani who was there on the road, sitting under the shade of a cart and scratching his body. And then a great king, Janushruti, he comes and learns about the consciousness with him. So, The seeker's strata is immaterial. The teacher's strata was also immaterial. Now, how about gender? Again, there are so many occasions in the Upanishads where we see one Gargi was a great scholar to the to the court in which she was a great scholar of King Janaka. This Yajnavalkya comes, and what kind of question that Gargi, the scholar, the lady poses? She says, "Dvau prashnau prakshyami, tau chenme vakshati, navai jatu yushma kamimam kaschid brahmodyam vetta iti pricha Gargi iti." She says, "I will ask two questions to this Yajnavalkya. If he answer these two, then none of you can defeat him in discussing Brahman." So much of a confidence. So many people are there, but if I ask that question, none of your questions will be of any value. So that's what she says. So the seeker, the questioner, again does not have any gender. The same way, again in the life of Yajnavalkya also. So he had two wives. One is Katyayani and the other is Maitreyi. When Yajnavalkya says that I am going to take a sannyasa, then he wants to divide his property among these two ladies. So one lady accepts the portion of wealth given to her, while the other lady, Maitreyi, she asks, "Where are you going?" "I am in the search of greater happiness, greater bliss." "Now, what are you giving to me?" "The wealth." "Is this not the source of greater happiness?" "No. Inner peace is the source of greater happiness, the true greater happiness. So I'm going there." "Then why don't you take me with you? I don't want this wealth." So such is the, and then both of them discuss about what is the source of true happiness. So she becomes a student and he becomes the teacher. Such beautiful conversation. So again, there is no, the gender again becomes immaterial, and a beautiful means again this also shatters all the stereotypes about the Vedic system, that it had sati and the women were never allowed to progress. Women did not have any right to know. A lady questions her husband and asks various questions, and then wants to know about the real purpose of life. So many other the lady characters are there. Chitra, Gangayani, Ajatashatru, Janaka, so many such people are there. In Brihadaranyaka, there is a reference to a Pandita girl. Vatya Swasti from Kaushitaki Brahmana. These are not random things. A systematic whole lot of women were engaged in the teaching learning procedure. And we also can see that how, even after having learnt a lot, the students remained humble and had the thirst to learn more. Narada, in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, in the Chandogya Upanishad, he comes to Sanat Kumara, one of the sons of Brahma. He says, "Rigvedam Bhagavodhyemi, Yajurvedam, Samavedam, Atharvanam, Chaturtham, Itihasa, Puranam, Panchamam, Vedanam, Vedam." He gives a huge list of subjects he already knew. But he says, Aham mantravidevasmi na atmavit. I am the one afflicted with sorrow after having learnt all these things. Sir, help me to cross over the other side of sorrow. Having learnt all these things, still I am not happy. What gives me happiness? Does all these learnings give me happiness? I'm not sure. So please guide me. So, such huge, massive learners, they had humility to undergo the real learning, the learning which will deliver them from sorrow. So, such was the humility amidst great scholarship. In the same way, we had so many exemplary teachers also. We say, and then see, with regard to the teachers. Again, so many qualities are there, but I'll just show one or two glimpses. So we see in the same Prashnopanishad, when six scholars come and ask, while though sage Pippalada knew everything, the way he puts his language, see, Yathakamam Prashnan Prichata, Yadi Vignasyamaha, Sarvam Bhavo Vakshyamaha iti. Okay, so uh, you ask what? Whatever you want, you ask. If I know, surely I will conceal nothing. If I certainly know that, I will tell you. But there is nothing which is beyond his perception, but still the language of humility, this is the language of science. Scientists do not say that they know everything, they try to know everything. So that approach is already established. And that's why post Upanishad, there was this huge explosion of knowledge that I initially showed to you in the slides. And then, very interestingly, how the teachers were extremely, all these students were not exemplary. Some students were of normal capability, average capabilities. How the teachers were, there is one big Tattva Vakya, Tattvamasi, you might have heard in Vedanta. You are that, you are the ultimate reality. This is a conversation between this principle, this Vakya comes out of a conversation between the father and the son, Shweta Ketu and Aruni. His father says, Saya Esha Anima, Sayesho Nima, Aitadatma Vidam Sarvam, Tat Satyam Saatma, Tattvamasi Shweta Ketu. Oh, Shweta Ketu, this pure, subtle, pure consciousness that you are not the mere body mind senses, he says. But his son, he asks, Bhuya eva ma Bhagavan Vijnapayatu. I did not understand. Please tell me more. In the same way, about 9 times, the same question he asked, please teach me once again. Please teach me once again. Please teach me once again. The father is not frustrated. He is not tired. Every time he uses a different example, different analogy, different experimentation to bring home the truth that Tattvamasi Shweta Ketu. So beautiful teachings are there in this. And then one final example that I would like to say is there is one interesting conversation between one Satyakama and Gautama. This is also from Chandogya Upanishad. How pure the relationship between the teacher and student was. You can see one small boy called Satyakama. He was playing around in the road, and then suddenly he sees his friends are not there. When he inquires, where are the friends? He learns that all of them have gone to Gurukula to study. He alone is playing around. So he goes to his mother and says, Oh, mother, his mother is a Jabala. He goes to his mother and asks, I also want to go to Gurukula. All other children of my age have gone to Gurukula. I cannot just roam around on the streets. I also want to go to Gurukula. Then I would like to go. I have heard about a sage called Haridrumata Gautama. I want to become his student. How should I introduce myself to him? What is my gotra? What is my family lineage? That the teacher will ask when I go to request him to admit me as a student. Then the mother is very, very honest and says, Oh, my son, I am Jabala, a normal lady. I was serving so many people. And in that process, you were born. I do not know who your father was. Sincerely, I do not know. Because she She seems to be not a kind of a prostitute. So she puts the language like that. I was serving so many people from whose source you have born to me. I do not know. Please tell this. You can say that my name is Satyakama and my mother is Jabala. I am the son of Jabala, so Jabali. When the teacher asks, you introduce yourself like this. The child is very innocent and accepts what the mother says to be utmost truth, and he directly goes to the teacher. As expected, the teacher asks, what is your lineage? Kingotrosi. Then he says, my name is Satyakama. My mother is Jabala. I don't know anything beyond that. This is my lineage. What does the Guru say? The Guru says, Sadna Satyada Naitad Brahmano Vivaktumarhati. Samidham Saumyahara Upatvaneshe Na Satyadaga. Iti Na Satyadaga. You just uttered what the truth is. What is the best qualification of a student? Being absolutely truthful. You didn't try to hide, just like a Karna in Mahabharata feigned or acted that I am a Brahmana, so teach me. Parashurama will teach only Brahmins, whereas Karna was a Kshatriya, but he kind of changed his form to a Brahmana and tried to learn. Later, he is cursed for his wrongdoing, being untruthful to the teacher. Whereas here, in this Upanishadic conversation, we can see what is the connecting medium between the teacher and student? Unalloyed truth alone. So then the teacher accepts him, admits him as a student in his Gurukula. So such was the beautiful, there was a mention of the space between the teacher and the student. Such was the pure space between the teacher and nothing else came in between the teacher and student. So these were some of the examples I could provide. Glimpse of it. Much more can be discussed, but I don't want to take much of your time. So, what we can conclude from all these instances is one interesting thing is the ancient, now it is all spoken about the value of Indian knowledge systems. It's not any fluke. Such a sterling relationship between the teacher and student existed, such a robust relationship existed, because of which ever relevant systems like Ayurveda, yoga, they were not fluke, meticulously developed between such teachers and students. Hence, even now they are relevant. And we can also see there was an inclusive intellectual tradition, economic strata, the social strata, gender, all these did not matter. You were committed to the knowledge. I am committed to knowledge. Come on, let us both explore together. So, all these Brahmanical hegemony and so on and so forth are all later narratives set by people with certain agenda to divide the society. That's very evident. And then, based on these, what can the current day education system can learn in the current context? We see education being institutionalized and commercialized. So, whereas this is what we learn from the learning as a sacred dialogue, not as a transaction. The teacher and student were very, very serious about their uh, their conversations. So this was not a transaction that they had. I pay the fee, you get the salary. No, nowhere in the Upanishad we see there was a financial transaction between the teacher and the student. And then in the ancient time, there was no credits, no syllabus. Of course, there was an objective in the mind of teacher, no modular courses. It was a long-term mentorship. The teacher is satisfied that the student is now ready, only then he will be sent out. Until then, he has to stay with the teacher. And as is very, very evident, knowledge is not at all commercialized. The teacher used to take the student as his own family member, and his student was not a customer. And then teacher, many more examples are there which I could not give due to the lack of time. The teacher was a facilitator and he not dumped knowledge. Okay, this is the lecture, these are the notes, you study and come prepared for the exam. These are important questions, come on, read. No, the teacher facilitated exploration. There are many examples of Bhrigu Varuna Samvada that I could not elaborate now. So that we can see. And then what kind of knowledge they explored? Every kind of knowledge. It's not history, science, maths only limited. Cosmology, psychology, ethics. Not only whatever will give you the bread earning knowledge. So hence, there is a lot to learn when we uh, kind of take the time out and reflect upon the Upanishadic wisdom, and slowly, when the awareness about this is spread, then the society is always ready for whenever a valid input comes through, the society is ready to receive. And Sunil Jain ji has created such a platform here where we could kind of share this teachings from the Upanishad. So this, if this slowly spreads, if this becomes a point of discussion in many of our conversations with people that we meet, then that lays the foundation for change. So I
Yeah.
take this opportunity to thank Sunil ji for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. The very profound insight that I am just getting empowered by is in the current age we need a reason to learn, and in our corporate office or in a commercial transaction, people come to ask job. They start with how much money will I get. That's one example, and another example is when they are choosing their career path. That is also for an intention of earning money. And here in the last 1 hour, teacher and student coming together, learning together for the happiness of human being. That itself is the reason. That everything is in the periphery of learning. That's so empowering, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste.